Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the Blue Ridge Auto Group Truck Series here with the SCSRA on iRacing, getting ready for our regular season finale before we start our playoffs. Let's take a look at our playoff picture coming into tonight. We see Michael Moultrie up at the top of the leaderboard with 5 wins. Nicholas Fuller, he's got a win. Devin Butchino, Jay Stinson, Tyler Aspinall, Matthew Fritz, Brandon Zimmerman, and Daniel Wiles and Eddie Morris all locked in on points. However, you've got a few drivers on the bubble. Joseph Wright, Riley Gomes, Blaze Richardson, all above the cut line. Ryan Gomes, Brian Merrill Jr., Dave Wright below the cut line. And then Michael Provolt, Brett Merle, and Rick Ward officially need a win to move on into the playoffs. Of course, a couple drivers unfortunately not able to make the race tonight. Both Brandon Zimmerman and Joseph Wright, I know, will not be here tonight. So that actually changes the playoff picture quite a bit coming into tonight. We got about 2 minutes left here in practice before we get qualifying underway. Currently at the top of the leaderboard is the 8 of Eddie Morris, who finally, after having a couple weeks with a bum computer, got his computer back running the way it should. No more technical issues for him. He's currently fastest on the speed chart. See Daniel Wiles, Devin Butchino, Brian Merle Jr., and Riley Gomes, your top 5 on the speed chart currently. With about a minute and a half left as Eddie Morris loses off a turn 2 there, slides down to the inside wall. Which is really easy to do here at Homestead Miami. There's a big bump there as you come off of turn number 2. Really easy to get loose and lose it there. So we should see a lot of action off of turn number 2 here tonight. Again, Devin Butchino currently 3rd fastest on the leaderboard. You got Brian Merle Jr. and Riley Gomes, both drivers looking for a win here tonight to advance on to the playoffs starting next week. Of course, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, or over on Kick. We do appreciate the support. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, the SCSRA finishes up their regular season here tonight in the Truck Series, tomorrow night on Noma TV in the Next Gen Series, and then we get ready for playoff driving before a little winter break for the holidays. Of course, here on Intense Broadcasting, we also want to thank our great partners, including Race EPI, for all your iRacing coaching and setup needs. Visit raceepi.com. You can check out our website over at intensitybroadcasting.com, and check out our great partner over at ButtKicker. ButtKicker is a well-known and established leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of ButtKicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. Check out the full line of ButtKicker products and figure out what's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com. Of course, our great partner here in the SCSRA, the Blue Ridge Auto Group, for all your new and used car needs. Check out Blue Ridge Auto Group at the link down below in the description. Qualifying is getting underway here tonight, with our first driver, Richard Hurst, making his way out onto the racetrack. And Homestead Miami is a bit of a unique racetrack. You see the progressive banking. Even though the track looks very symmetrical, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are completely different. We'll talk about the uniqueness of the track in just a moment as we watch the 21 make his way around the racetrack. First driver to put a lap down, currently up at the top of the leaderboard. Coming down the backstretch for the final time into turns 3 and 4. And down to the stripe. And Hurst is going to improve his time a little bit, jumps up to the current pole. See Eddie Morris jumping up into the third position on his first lap there. Here comes Daniel Wiles across the stripe. He's going to jump up to the provisional pole. Brian Merle Jr. jumps up into third. Matthew Fritz coming down the backstretch. Let's see where Eddie Morris comes through turns 3 and 4. And Morris currently going to stay in that 5th position. Matthew Fritz jumps up to the 2nd position. Here comes Riley Gomes off of turn number 4. Down across the stripe. Gomes is going to jump up in the 4th. See Tyler Aspinall coming through turns 1 and 2 on his 2nd lap. Ooh, big wiggle out of the 45 up into the outside wall hard. That's going to finish off his qualifying attempt here at Homestead Miami. We see Ryan Gomes in the 55. Currently on his qualifying attempt. Ripping that high side on his opening lap. Going to move up into the 8th position on his first lap. See if he's able to do anything better on this 2nd lap. Right down to the bottom through turns 1 and 2. To get the good launch down the backstretch towards turns 3 and 4. Right back down to the bottom. Down to the stripe, and Gomes. Ryan Gomes is going to go to the top of the leaderboard. With a great run right there. Of course, Ryan needing a win here, or needing a good finish here tonight to advance on to the round of 12. Looks like we're having a little bit of issues here with the truck's paint, so bear with me a second while I get these all figured out. Ooh, David right hard into the inside wall. You see the 68 of Devin Bacino currently up onto the racetrack. Down into turns 3 and 4. Looks like we got the right paints now on the trucks. As Butchno comes down off of turn number 4 across the stripe, and he's going to jump up into the 8th position on his first lap. Couple drivers left to qualify. Butchino just coming through turns 3 and 4 in his final lap. Blaze Richardson coming across the stripe right now. Nick Fuller coming to take the green flag as we speak, as Butchino goes up to P3. I'm just going to use a replay here. I want to make sure I got the right paint on Dave Wright's car, which I do. Across the stripe, and Fuller's first lap is going to put him in 15th. Let's see if he's able to improve on that here on his second lap. Down the backstretch for the final time. Let's that truck wash right up the track off of turn number 4. Down to the stripe, and Fuller is going to go P5 on the leaderboard currently, as we got just under 2 minutes left here in qualifying. As we wait for, see if anybody else is going to try to make their way into the server and out onto the racetrack. Well, a full slate of racing here on Intensity Broadcasting yet again. Of course, Thursday night we have Thunderstruck. Sunday night we have the INSS. Tuesday nights we have SCSRA, as the Doghouse Racing League just finished up their season here tonight. So don't forget to hit that like button, notification button, so you know anytime we're live here on Intensity Broadcasting. With about a minute left here in qualifying, again, we want to thank all our great partners here. Blue Ridge Auto Group, the league's sponsor. You're looking for a new or used car, pickup truck, SUV, visit Blue Ridge Auto Group at the link down below. Of course, our great partners over at Race EPI for all your iRacing coaching and setup needs. IntensityBroadcasting.com helps support our channel, or pick up one of Atlee Hatman Weiss's racing swag over there at IntensityBroadcasting.com. And, of course, our great partner over at the Butt Kicker. If you need that little bit extra, you're looking for that little bit of a haptic feedback, get a little better feeling and more realistic feeling, check out thebuttkicker.com. So 15 seconds before we get our grid underway and we get ready for our season finale here on Intensity Broadcasting. Trucks are gridding up here on pit road. We'll take a look at our starting grid. Starting on pole tonight will be the 55 of Ryan Gomes. Daniel Wiles will roll off from P2. Devin Butchino and Matthew Fritz will make up row number 2, followed by Nick Fuller and Richard Hurst back in row number 3. Row 4 will be Riley Gomes and Brian Merle Jr., followed by David Hartney and David Wright. Eddie Moores will roll off from the 11th position with Sylvan Seguin back in 12th. Jay Stinson rolls off 13th with Blaze Richardson in the 14th position. Chuck Balance and Tyler Aspinall will round out the field here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. As we get ready for 110 laps around Homestead Miami Speedway. Your stage break tonight will be on lap number 40. And then we get ready for playoff racing. Of course, your playoff races will be Richmond, Nashville Super Speedway, Then we'll cut the field down to 8 for Talladega and Kansas. And we'll cut the field down to 4 for our final race at Phoenix to crown a champion here in the SCSRA Blue Ridge Auto Group Truck Series. As the trucks roll off onto the raceway, we're going to re-rack them, restack them, get ready to fire them in our season finale. A couple drivers really needing either a good finish or a win here tonight to lock themselves into the playoffs. And Ryan Gomes is going to lead the field down to the starting zone. With Daniel Wiles to his outside as the pace truck pulls down onto pit road. And we are green flag racing here at Homestead Miami for the final time in the regular season as Ryan Gomes and Daniel Wiles go side by side down into turn number 1. Wiles up on that high side. He's going to have a great run here as they come off of turn number 2. Because of that progressive banking, Gomes is going to lose that top position. Here comes Devin Butchino down on the low side, trying to make something happen underneath Matthew Fritz. We see Richard Hurst all the way up against the wall, trying to use that high lane to his advantage. And Daniel Wiles is going to lead the first lap here tonight. Here comes Matthew Fritz trying to get around the 55 of Gomes. Gomes trying to fight back, though, on that low side. The field's already starting to stretch out a little bit here tonight. Gomes really working hard on that low side, trying to stay out in front of Richard Hurst. Of course, Gomes needs all the points he can get here tonight, as many playoff points as he can get to try to move himself into the playoffs next week. David Hartney is stuck in the middle 3 wide. Got Brian Merle Jr. to his inside, Tyler Aspinall to the outside. Now Nick Fuller is going to pull out in front of his teammate and try to get the push down into turn number 3. Now Aspinall is going to make his teammate 3 wide as they come off of turn number 4. Tyler Aspinall on a mission right now up to the 6th position. Ripping the rim there up on the high side of that Kyle Larson line. And continuing to move that truck forward. Meanwhile up front, Daniel Wiles continues to pull away as Matt Fritz now using that higher lane, trying to gain the momentum to run down that 17. And Richard Hurst is side by side with Riley Gomes. Brittany S. says, let's go 21 as Richard Hurst gets passed by Riley Gomes and continues on here as caution is out on the racetrack for the first time. Bring out our first Wreckage Rewind of the night. Looks like quite a few drivers involved here in this one. Focus our attention here on Nick Fuller right there in the middle of the screen. See the 31 of Jay Stinson. Ooh, makes a little contact with Fuller, turns him right around. Devin Butchino, fortunately, able to avoid it. Eddie Morris tries to avoid it, gets turned hard into the inside wall by Blaze Richardson. Richardson also caught up in this one. Looks like Dave Wright caught up in this as well. So Seguin got a little piece of it. Really tough break for Eddie Morris here as we ride along with the driver of the 8. Looks like he might have been all right, but it looks like somebody might have hit him at the end here. Oof. So everybody coming down pit road, except for Tyler Aspinall. So Tyler Aspinall staying out on those older tires. Daniel Wiles came down pit road. Looks like he took fuel. Looks like everybody took fuel only. So Tyler Aspinall, the only driver to stay out. So lights are off on the pace truck. Pace truck getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. And Tyler Aspinall going to lead him back down to the Geico Research Zone where the green flag is back in the air. We are back racing here with a big jump for Tyler Aspinall down into turn number 1. Field starts to spread off of turn number 2 and rocketing down the backstretch. Daniel Wiles trying to use that high side to his advantage to get back around Tyler Aspinall. Here comes Riley Gomes up on that high side trying to get around the 17 of Daniel Wiles. And now Riley Gomes trying to take the lead away from Tyler Aspinall down on the low side. And Gomes going to take that position away. So move the 9 of Riley Gomes up to the top spot. And Tyler Aspinall, ooh, threads the needle between Daniel Wiles and Riley Gomes and goes back down to the bottom to try to take that top spot back away. Tyler Aspinall trying to battle back on the low side. Now Gomes trying to fight back on the high side. Now they're going to start to get single file down into turn number 1. Great battle up here at the front. 5 cars under a blanket trying to take the lead. Gomes diving back down to the bottom. Tyler Aspinall up at the high side as they go door to door off of turn number 2 for the lead. Here comes a little push from Wiles trying to give a shove to that 9 machine. And now Wiles is going to take a look down to the inside as Gomes is going to jump up to the high side, try to use that momentum to get a run here off of turn number 4. Here comes Richard Hurst up into the mix as well. So the battle for our top 5 positions all being contested right now as Tyler Aspinall uses that low lane. Here comes Riley Gomes up on the high side with the crossover off of turn number 4. Use a little side draft to try to get that position down into turn at number 1 to retake the lead here on lap number 16. Aspinall, though, using that high lane off the wall, trying to keep that momentum. And he's going to trap Riley Gomes down on the low side and retake the lead. As Daniel Wiles now drives down to the bottom, try to take away that second spot. Tyler Aspinall starting to pull away now from the 5 trucks behind him. Gomes able to use that high lane momentum to keep moving forward and holding off the 21 of Richard Hurst. A little further back in the pack, we see a little battle shaping up here. David Wright battling with the 31 of Jay Stinson. It's a battle for 9th and 10th. As now Ryan Gomes is starting to make his way up into the mix here. Great battles all over the racetrack as our top 6 are now under a blanket coming through turns 1 and 2. Richard Hurst trying to rerun down Riley Gomes off of turn number 4. Not quite close enough to make it happen, but the draft here really comes into play, especially on these long straightaways. If you keep that momentum up off the high side, you're able to get a good draft and good run down the backstretch like we're seeing Riley Gomes starting to get here on Tyler Aspinall. Matthew Fritz on the high side. He's going to try to run a little crossover here on Daniel Wiles. Wiles, though, able to keep that 29 machine behind him for now. As now Richard Hurst trying to make a move here on Riley Gomes. Daniel Wiles now up into the third spot. He's able to get around Richard Hurst. He's trying to continue moving. Wiles using that momentum, pulling right up on the back bumper of Riley Gomes down into turn number 3. See Wiles able to get on the throttle just a little bit earlier than Gomes is, and Gomes is going to let him right on by on the high side. As he sees he is quite a bit faster than him currently. Now Daniel Wiles is going to try to make a run at Tyler Aswell as Riley Gomes starting to struggle here. As the tires are starting to wear out, we're starting to see these trucks slip sliding around. One truck that's really come to life the last couple of laps, that's the 29 of Matthew Fritz. He's given a big shove to his teammate Richard Hurst down into turn number 1. Now the 55 of Ryan Gomes taking a look down underneath as Fritz's momentum was broken there by that 21 as the 21 and 9 continue to battle side by side. And neither Hurst nor Gomes really has an advantage. Now Hurst has the run. He's going to slide up in front of Riley. Riley, though, is going to try to cross him back over down the front stretch. Fritz hugging that outside wall, ripping the rim. And here comes Devin Butchino into the mix. Out of nowhere as he's now joining the party as he's looking at the Gomes boys side by side. As we are quickly approaching 10 laps left in the stage. Now Devin Butchino using the inside lane. Looks like Riley Gomes just burned his stuff off a little too quickly here on this run as he's quickly fallen into the clutches of 8th place Brian Merle Jr. Back up front though, the two Venom boys running nose to tail, Richard Hurst and Matthew Fritz. Fritz thought about trying to make a move down underneath Hurst. When it comes to the playoff grid, Matthew Fritz is locked in. Richard Hurst is part-time, so he's more running here for bragging rights and wins. So it looks like he is outside the playoff picture. As Devin Butchno, ooh, Hurst gets a little loose there off of turn number 4. Allows Butchno to jump right up to the high side. So Richard Hurst only has 5 races in on the season. This is his 6th race, so he is not eligible for the playoffs. Even with a win here tonight, you have to run at least 8 of the races. Great battle here as you see Ryan Gomes now driving down to the bottom, trying to take over that 5th position, but Richard Hurst rim riding here off of turn number 4. And Devin Butchino trying to make a move down to the inside of Matthew Fritz. Butchino still right there on the back bumper of Fritz. So Butchino make the drive down to the bottom of the track. Fritz up on the high side. And Fritz is going to have that run off of the corner. While Butchino is able to dive down to the bottom, have good momentum. Neither driver's really has anything for either one of them. Last time by, Matthew Fritz ran a 34.10. Butchino ran a 32.17, so. Ooh, Butch gets a little loose there off of turn number 2. As we are quickly approaching 3 laps left of the stage. As Ryan Blaney in the chat says, iRacing races are better than actual NASCAR races, to be honest. It's Ryan Blaney on YouTube. As you see Ryan Gomes down to the inside of Richard Hurst trying to take over that 4th position. So Ryan Gomes trying to get as many points as he can here, try to advance into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Tyler Aspinall has come down pit road. He's on pit road right now, just leaving. So Daniel Wiles is going to take over the race lead. So at stage, issues for Richard Hurst. Richard Hurst is now falling back. Devin Butchino battling side by side with Matthew Fritz for the lead, for 2nd place, excuse me. And I think fuel mileage might be coming into the stage here as Butchino is down on the low side. They go side by side off of turn at number 2. And Next time by, we'll have just one to go in the stage as Devin Butchino drives all the way down to the white line. Fritz all the way up to the wall. So they come off of turn number 4. And 1 lap to go here in the stage. Daniel Wiles out in front by about a second, while these two continue to battle for the second spot, trying to get those playoff points. Meanwhile, Ryan Gomes working that low side, trying to get by Richard Hurst for one more point himself. As the field makes their way off of turn number 4, Daniel Wiles is going to be your stage winner. Devin Butchino is going to come home second, Matthew Fritz in third, Richard Hurst fourth, and Ryan Gomes your top 5 here in the stage. Daniel Wiles is going to come around and catch the pace truck. So your stage is Daniel Wiles first, Devin Butchino second, Matthew Fritz, Richard Hurst, and Ryan Gomes your top 5. Brian Merrill Jr. brings it home 6. Jay Stinson, Nick Fuller, David Wright, and Riley Gomes gets that final stage point as the field makes their way down pit road. And I wonder if Tyler Aspinall is going to stay out. Now, he was just on pit road on lap 36. He was the lucky dog, so he can come down pit road and down next time by. He might come down and just top off his fuel tank, as his tires are still going to be pretty fresh. And Daniel Wiles is going to be the first truck off of pit road. Let's get a word with our stage winner, Daniel Wiles. Daniel, I got Josh up in the broadcast booth. You got me? Oh, let me unmute you here on my end. But, man, great job getting the stage win. Awfully racy out there. It seems like there's 6 drivers, about the same speeds out there. Talk us through that stage, what you learned and what you can do here to keep yourself out in front here to get yourself a win.
Well, I did learn don't be racy right there in the beginning. I did back out into about 5th spot and kind of let them guys burn up their stuff. And then I just started working my way through. And I completely forgot Tyler didn't even pit. So I was running hard to try and catch him. And then he had to pit. I was like, well, that was all for nothing.
Hey, when that happens, well, long stage there. A lot of racing left here. Does it look like it's going to be a 2-stop race for you guys, or do you think you're going to be able to stretch it with just one?
I don't know yet. We might try and stretch it with one. We're going to see how the cautions, see if there's any more cautions or what we're going to do here. So I guess time will tell. We're out here for points anyways. We're already locked in the playoffs, so bonus points is what we're going for.
There you go. Well, you got that playoff point with the win here in the stage, and good luck in this final stage. Hopefully we'll talk to you again at the end.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Have a great night. So Daniel Wiles, not really divulging any of his secrets there. Trying to see how this stage is going to play out. We know that they can run about, based off of what we saw with the way the caution fell, these drivers can run about 30 to 35 laps on a tank of fuel. So it looks like it's going to be a two-stop race to the end here. Daniel Wiles is going to choose the outside, putting Devin Butchino down on the inside. Richard Hurst and Matthew Fritz back in row number 2. And Jay Stinson and Brian Merle, Ryan Gomes and Brian Merle Jr. back in row number 3. Nick Fuller, Jay Stinson back in row 4. Then Chuck Balance and Dave Wright, row number 5. That's going to be your top 10 here as we come to the restart. As the pace truck makes its way off onto pit road, green flag is back in the air. A great jump for Daniel Wiles down into turn number 1. Devin Butchino working to the outside, or inside, excuse me, of Matthew Fritz. And Butch, we saw him on, ooh, Fritz really loose there. Coming through turns 1 and 2. Well, there's a couple spots here. He's going to fall all the way back into the 5th position. He's going to work that inside lane on those cold tires, and we saw just what cold tires can do here. As Devin Butchino now side by side with Richard Hurst for the 2nd position. Great battle here shaping up for 2nd place as Richard Hurst able to get around Devin Butchino and up into the 2nd position. Meanwhile, a little battle back here. We see Brian Earl Jr., Dave Wright, Eddie Morris, Tyler Aspinall, Blaze Richardson all under a blanket here. Eddie Morris still showing a couple laps down. He is 2 laps down currently as Tyler Aspinall is trying to make a move down to the inside. Aspinall, we saw how much speed he had in that first run. See if he's able to continue that momentum forward here in the final stage. Ryan Gomes trying to get around Matthew Fritz. Fritz, though, still using that high lane. Gomes is going to block him off here and take over that 4th position. Well, while we've got a little bit of a break in the action, let's do a little thing I like to call pump up the intensity. Well, while we were pumping up the intensity, we had a change for the lead as Richard Hurst jumped up to the top of the leaderboard, got around Daniel Wiles. Take a look at the pass here. Hurst uses that high lane, uses a little side draft, a little bit of contact there between the 21 and the 17 as well. That allows Hurst to move right around, using that high lane to take over that top spot. Further back, we see a battle here between Nick Fuller and Riley Gomes. You see Eddie Morris right here in the mix as well, but Eddie is currently 2 laps down. But he's trying to drive himself up to the front. Looks like he's trying to unlap himself the hard way. Meanwhile, Devin Butchino and Matthew Fritz battling it out for the 3rd spot. They're catching back up to Richard Hurst, who lost the lead yet again. So we see what happened here to the 20. Oh, the 21 got up into the wall. He made heavy contact with the outside wall, and that's what allowed Daniel Wiles to get back around the 21 machine. You see the damage there to the side of the 21. That's why he's fallen backwards just a little bit to Devin Butchino and Matthew Fritz. Devin Butchino finally able to clear Matthew Fritz. Here comes Fritz though, back on the outside with a good run. So because of the progressive banking here, neither lane really gets a very strong run or advantage. This is the design of the track. The banking is 6 degrees progressive, so 3 degrees down at the bottom. I want to make sure I'm reading that right because I don't believe that is the correct banking here. So the bottom of the track is banked at 18 degrees. The top of the track is banked at 20 degrees. And that's why that high lane can keep right along with the low lane. Even though the low lane is the shorter way around, because of the higher banking on the high lane, it allows for a little bit more run off the high side. Excuse me, I apologize. I was trying to mute my mic and I was not able to I do apologize for that, as Devin Butchino gets around Richard Hurst and up into the second position as he's going to try to run down Daniel Wiles, who now has a 1 second lead over the rest of this group. How about Ryan Gomes still hanging tight, trying to run down the 29 of Matthew Fritz. Come off of turn number 2. Gomes trying to inch closer and closer to that 29 machine. Meanwhile, Wiley Gomes, Blaze Richardson battling it out back here. This is for 8th and 9th. Of course, playoff implications are in play here. Some of these guys are just barely on the bubble or just barely on the outside looking in. As Gomes and Fritz go side by side. How about Eddie Morris? Eddie Morris, again, a couple laps down. He is gaining on this lead group, and last time by, he was actually the fastest truck on the racetrack. Up front, Daniel Wiles continues to lead. Everybody last pit on lap 42. So we should start seeing drivers come down pit road in the next 5 or 10 laps or so. Figure around 72 to 75, I'm guessing, is going to be the pit window. But I'm sure there's a couple drivers out there as well who are starting to save a little bit of fuel. See if they can try to stretch it and steal one here at the end. Again, Eddie Morris is a couple laps down, coming up into this mix here as Ryan Gomes going to take a look down to the inside of Matthew Fritz. He's going to clear the 29 off of turn number 2. Fritz gets that run back on the high side. He's going to pull back alongside, but I think Gomes is going to be able to clear Fritz here off of turn number 4. Now Fritz is going to have that run again up on the high side, so either one of these drivers is able to get away from each other. Ooh, Hurst back up into the outside wall. Fritz almost gets to his side, got really loose there. Able to hold on to it, but that could have been disastrous, especially for Eddie Morris, hanging right back there, trying to get himself back onto the lead lap. See the 43, Dave Hartley. He's trying to make some ground up on that high side. He's running down Tyler Aspinall. Aspinall, who was so fast at the beginning of the run, got in trouble due to staying out and having a pit by himself. Now he finds himself running back in the 10th position. Brittany S says, easy 21. Yeah, he's trying to do everything he can to hold on to that car as he's slow again down the front stretch towards turn number 3. Back up front, though, Daniel Wiles continues to lead over Devin Butchino by almost 2 seconds now. Matthew Fritz is trying to make another run here on Ryan Gomes. Has now moved himself up to the top of the racetrack. So Gomes, who is riding the white line for most of the run, now finds himself up at the top of the track. Now back to the bottom through turns 3 and 4. This is something that's really common here at Homestead. You might see a driver running the white line through turns 1 and 2 and then ripping the top side through 3 and 4, because even though the track seems like it'd be symmetrical, it is actually quite a bit different on the two ends of the racetrack. Just feels like the radius of turns 3 and 4 is a little bit tighter than it is through turns 1 and 2, and that allows that bottom lane to really have the advantage through turns 3 and 4, where that top lane really feels good through turns 1 and 2. Pit stops are starting. Blaze Richardson, the first driver to make his way down on the pit road. See who the next drivers will be. Tyler Aspinall, David Hartney side by side, as Hartney's going to take that spot away, move himself up into 9th. Brian Merrill Jr. and Nick Fuller battling side by side. Nick Fuller able to clear Brian Merrill Jr. up on the high side, move himself up into 5th, as Dave Wright now comes down the pit road, and he was cooking coming down in the pit road, and he might have just gotten himself a speeding penalty. We'll have to see if he's able to get right out on racetrack, or if he has to serve a hold here for coming onto pit road too quickly. Devin Butchino now down on the pit road. He's able to get woed down in time. Brian Merrill Jr. coming down on the pit road as well. Dave Wright, the left sides are in the air. Let's see if the drop. Yep, he's able to get down in the way, so he was able to get down to speed. Riley Gomes, Tyler Aspinall, Jay Stinson all on pit road as well. And here comes your leader peeling down on the pit road. Nice and easy, as he had himself a pretty good lead here. And Matthew Fritz is going to stay out to lead a lap. Eddie Morris out there. What Eddie's hoping for is he's able to get around the 29 here, and then the caution comes out, and he's able to get himself back onto the lead lap. Richard Hurst now down on the pit road. Ryan Gomes down and away. Nick Fuller down and away. Chuck Ballard sitting in his pit stall. Just a couple drivers left the pit. Just Matthew Fritz and David Hartney left the pit. See Daniel Wiles and Devin Bucciano. So this is a battle for what's going to be the lead, as Bucciano able to clear Wiles up on the high side. As Matthew Fritz now makes his way down on the pit road. David Hartney, ooh, almost misses pit road. He loops it around coming down onto the pit road. As Devin Bucciano takes over the race lead. So a tough break for David Hartney coming down on the pit road. The battle for the lead is starting to heat up here as Devin Bucciano is now taking over the lead from Daniel Wiles. Now Wiles trying to fight back up on that high side, trying to get that lead back. Wiles fighting back on that high side. Bucciano trying to hold off, but Wiles too strong, able to take that spot away. So could Devin Bucciano be playing a little bit of a strategy game here? Could he be trying to save his tires here for the end? Could they be saving a little bit of fuel as well? Grab my little calculator and try to do a little bit of fuel mileage here. They will be able to make it to the end here without having to pit again, so it will be a race to the finish. It's just going to be a matter if everybody's able to save tires. Who's going to have the best tires there at the end? That's going to be the big picture here. A little further back, Riley Gomes, Brian Merle Jr., a battle for 8th and 9th. How about Blaze Richardson up into the 3rd position? Blaze running kind of more towards the middle to back of the pack. Now find himself up in the 3rd position. A lot of comers and goers here tonight. See Richard Hurst running back in the 10th position. He was up front for quite a bit tonight. Riley Gomes up front for a little while, now finds himself battling 8th and 9th position. Matthew Fritz, Tyler Aspinall side by side, battling for 6th and 7th. So it's been a tale of 2 races for a lot of these drivers here tonight. As we have just 25 laps to go. This battle still continuing to go on between Brian Merle Jr. and Riley Gomes. Both drivers needing good points here as Jr. got loose there off the corner, able to hold on to it. That allows Riley Gomes to get back in front. Here comes Richard Hurst now trying to move into the position as well. We see Matthew Fritz right back up at the wall where he's been all night long. Fritz still using that high size. He's trying to get around the 55 of Ryan Gomes. Looks like he's going to take that position away down into turn number 1. As Daniel Wiles pulling away from Devin Butchino. The lead now just over a second and a half as Wiles goes down into turn number 3. And when he crosses the stripe this time, we'll just have 20 laps to go here in our regular season finale. Richard Hurst, Brian Merle Jr. battling side by side. These two had some issues last week racing around each other. And it seems like anytime you have an issue with somebody on the racetrack, you always end up finding them as they go down into turn number 3. And Junior runs right there on the back bumper of Richard Hurst, but Hurst able to pull away just a little bit. Meanwhile, Nick Fuller and Matthew Fritz starting to make something happen here as both drivers running that high side. Fritz, though, running much higher than Fuller's been able to run. Fritz makes a move down to the inside. Both drivers chasing down the 18 of Blaze Richardson. He's able to use that high lane momentum to keep himself ahead of Fritz for the moment. Fritz, you've seen his truck work really well down on the bottom side. Not so much on the high side, but he is going to get around Blaze Richardson here and move himself up into the top 3. Richardson, though, going to dive back down to the bottom, trying to hold onto that 3rd spot, but you see that top lane just too strong on these old tires. We have 17 laps to go. Just a handful of laps remain here as we see Nick Fuller working down to the inside of Blaze Richardson. And Ryan Gomes, Blaze's Trackhouse teammate, going to be the next one to try to get around and take a position away from the 18 machine. Meanwhile, Riley Gomes battling with Richard Hurst, trying to take over or hold off, excuse me, that 21, and he is not going to be able to do it. He falls back to the 9th position. Hurst taking that position away, taking away some valuable points as these drivers are trying to make their way and race their way into the playoffs. 15 laps to go here at Homestead as Nick Fuller and Ryan Gomes starting to duke it out here down the backstretch. See Devin Butchino just not able to hang tight with Daniel Wiles on this final run. The lead now just over 2 seconds for Wiles, but Butchno still having a great run here. Trying to hold on to a podium spot. See Matthew Fritz still ripping that high side and pulling away from Ryan Gomes, who runs back in the 4th position. Tyler Aspinall now trying to make a move here on Blaze Richardson. He's got his teammate Nick Fuller. He's also going to try to make a 2-for-1 here through turns 3 and 4. His teammates go side by side down into turn number 1. Great 3-car battle here for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Make that 8th as Richard Hurst now up into the mix here, trying to get around the 18 of Blaze Richardson. As Daniel Wiles comes through turns 3 and 4. He's going to come to take 10 laps to go here tonight at Homestead Miami, with a 2-second lead over Devin Butchno. Now the last thing that he wants to see is a caution, and I say that Blaze Richardson was really loose there off of turn number 4. The last thing Wiles wants to see is a caution. Well, you've got a bunch of trucks here on old tires trying to battle it out for some important points to try to get themselves into the playoffs. Hurst now down to the inside of Tyler Aspinall. And Richard Hurst trying to take over the 5th spot. He's going to slide up in front of the 45 to take that position away. Looks like Hurst might have had a connection issue because he is not being shown on the racetrack anymore. So a tough break for the driver of the 21, having a connection issue right in the final laps of the race. One driver who is hoping for a caution right now, that's the 8 of Eddie Morris. He would love to see a caution right now, see if he can get himself back up onto the lead lap. Right behind him, Blaze Richardson and Nick Fuller continue to battle it out here for the 6th position. So next week, the playoffs start. We're going to be moving on to the short track racing. We're going to do some racing at Richmond next week for our first round of the round of 12. Again, it'll go Richmond and then Nashville Super Speedway. Then we'll cut the field down to 8. Take on Talladega, which is our last crown jewel race, and Kansas. And we'll cut the field down to 4, and we'll crown a champion on January 29th. Sorry, January 23rd. Of course, we'll have the Christmas break there between Richmond and Nashville. As we have 5 laps to go. As Wiles makes his way through turns 3 and 4, coming to 4 laps to go. Battle heat back up for the 3rd spot as Ryan Gomes has been running down the 29 of Matthew Fritz. Last time by, Gomes was about just over a 10th quicker than the 29. It's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to get by him, as Gomes going to use that high side. Get a run here on Matthew Fritz, trying to put himself on the podium with just 3 laps to go. Fritz throwing a big block down the backstretch, taking away that advantage down into turn number 3. But Gomes on that high side is going to have the momentum and the advantage here, as they're going to go side by side off of turn number 4. 2 laps to go. And Ryan Gomes trying to get as many points as he can here to try to secure a playoff spot. Matthew Fritz, though, not making it easy as they come off of turn number 2. Now Gomes going to take over that 3rd spot, move him onto the podium. As Daniel Wiles has taken the white flag, just 1 lap to go. He's got a 4-second lead over 2nd place Devin Bucciano. So Wiles just going to be on cruise control to the end of the race. Down through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. And Daniel Wiles is going to get the win here tonight in the regular season finale. Devin Bucciano comes across the line in 2nd. Ryan Gomes across the line in 3rd. Matthew Fritz and Tyler Aspinall are going to round out your top 5. But the winner tonight, driver of the America Racing 17, Daniel Wiles. Going to make his way down to the front stretch where they're going to take their ceremonial picture. For his celebration here. Top 3 are going to, here goes Bucciano pulling away. Let's see if Daniel Wiles is going to burn it down right here on the front stretch. After getting the win here tonight in the season finale, or regular season finale, excuse me, of the SCSRA Blue Ridge Auto Group Truck Series. Michael Lawrence says, see you guys next race. Looks like Cheeseburger is going to be back on the racetrack next week. As we get ready to take a look at our results here tonight. And again, Daniel Wiles getting the win. Devin Bucciano brings it home 2nd. Ryan Gomes back in 3rd. Matthew Fritz and Tyler Aspinall, your top 5. Nick Fuller brings it home in 6th. 7th was Brian Merle Jr., Blaze Richardson back in 8th, Riley Gomes and Jay Stinson round out your top 10. David Wright brings it home 11th, Charles Balance back in 12th, David Hartney brings it home 13th. And then your lap down trucks of Eddie Morris, Sylvan Seguin, and Richard Hurst, who had that connection issue right there at the end. as we get ready to talk to our top three. Get our cameras all set up nicely here. Maybe. There we go. Starting with our third place finisher, Ryan Gomes. Well, maybe not. Waiting for him to jump down into the waiting room. Ryan, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I just had to find the right spot there, Josh. What's happening?
Sorry to drag you down there, but we had to get you down here. But man, what a run for you here tonight. Kind of came out of nowhere there on that final run to get yourself up into the third position. Was fast all night, started on pole, fell back, and drove back up to the front. Talk about the up and downs in the race and what changed from the beginning of the race to the end of the race where you were so fast there at the end.
Yeah, I don't imagine qualifying the pole and not leading the lap, but no, I think it just speaks to driving scared to death. I think I saved some tires inadvertently, but that really paid off there at the end and kind of finding that rhythm. I knew we had to have a good run. A lot of heavy hitters not here tonight, and I'm hoping we got enough points to sneak by Joe, but we'll see how it all shakes out to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Joe not being here was a huge thing for you here tonight. I know he was right there on the cusp with you. But talk about the strategy, because it seemed like strategy came in big here tonight, saving your tires to be there at the end, and some awesome battles there with Fritz there at the end and driving back through the field. What was the secret there to saving the tires?
Like I said, taking it easy, trying to save the car. And I think that actually, I've seen Devin come the first run. I seen him go by me, and I just kind of tried to follow what he was doing. And because he had a heck of a run at that first stage, and just trying to mimic what he did and kind of finding that line in 3 and 4. And yeah, I don't know. It just kind of clicked and worked. I mean, I was trying to take it easy. All of a sudden, started catching Fritz for third, and I almost lost it a couple times trying to push him for third, but we made it here. So,
well, an awesome job either way. Trackside kind of showing their hand at the end of the race, which is kind of awesome to see. And man, great job coming home on the podium. And I think this is what, your second podium of the season? I don't think you've talked to me but once this year.
We'll call it second. I think this is the first time I've talked to you here. So yeah, it's new to this.
Well, awesome, man. Again, congrats on the podium. Before we let you go though, Ryan, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, you for doing this. I mean, you got one of the best streams out there. I love going back and rewatching it. This one will be even nicer to go back and watch. But my teammates, Blaze and Riley, he just, kept talking to me the whole time, hey, be calm, nice and smooth. Dev and Eddie and all those guys, Sylvan, Hartney, all these guys for putting this series on. And I think my parents are probably watching this, so shout out to them too. So thanks.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the podium, and good luck tomorrow night as you try to race yourself into another set of playoffs here.
Yes, sir. We'll see you there.
Have a great night. That's your third place finisher, Ryan Gomes. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Devin Butchino. Devin, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Man, what a race for you. Kind of, again, another one, tale of two races. Kind of fell off a little bit, then it came out of nowheres there towards the end. What was the difference from the start of the race to the end of the race that kept you there in contention?
I run this track. I run it for the long runs, man. I stay glued to that white line. I never really leave it. That's the way I've ran this place, I think, since the SCSRA started racing here. I just think it's better for the tires long run, but that's the thing. You're not going to have the speed early. You can have really good speed up top early, but the bottom, it'll come on at the end. It's more of a straight line rather than an up and down path when it comes to speed here when you do that. And it's worked a couple times. We've gotten a couple wins from it. But Daniel was just driving it a little better than we were at the end of this one.
Yeah, coming on to the that final pit stop there, it looked like you were a little bit better on and off pit road than Daniel was. You were able to sneak out in front of him, but he was able to get you there on the long run. Was it just saving the tires there that was the difference, or was there anything you could have done a little bit differently, you think?
I don't think I could have pushed any harder. I mean, our 3 pit stops this race, our tires were at 72%, 78%, and that run they're still at 75%. So it was starting to plow pretty bad, so I couldn't imagine what it would have done, if I drove it even harder. I'm not really mad about this one because I don't know what else I could have changed. I went to the top a couple times. I know some guys are running the top in 1 and 2, bottom 3 and 4. We were losing like 2/10 a lap doing that. So, we were just both running the bottom, and I don't know if he was backing up, a little bit more than I was, but just came up short. There's scratching my head a little bit because there's definitely nothing on my mind that I think that I could have changed to erase a 3-second gap.
Well, again, awesome job coming up on the podium here tonight. And can't hang your head on that one too much. I mean, anytime you can finish on the podium in this series, it's an awesome job. So before we let you go, Devin, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you, Josh, for doing this on Tuesdays. Everyone at Intensity for doing this for us on Tuesdays. Blue Ridge Auto Group for coming on board this season. They've been a really fun partner with all the Venom guys. Dev Sports Cards, Morse Customs, Level Up Subs, New Craft Fine Jewelry and Design, my girlfriend Kaylee, my family, and just thanks again, Josh. Appreciate you doing this, and pretty early night for us after the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, I'm enjoying it. So again, congrats, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, have a good night, brother.
You as well. So that's your second place finisher, Devin Butchino. Let's bring in your winner here tonight. Driver of the 17 America Racing Machine, Daniel Wiles. Daniel, got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
What's going on, man?
Man, a great win for you here tonight. Dominating fashion. Seems like you had a little bit of trouble on that pit stop that allowed Devin to get out in front of you, but you're able to get right back by him in just a few laps. Talk about that truck, and how much did the track change as the race went on that you had to make some adjustments? Because it seemed like some guys just could not figure out the track towards the end of the race.
Well, I was telling Devin in the waiting room, I ran this track in another league, and I ran the top almost the whole time. And man, tonight the top never came in at all. So, I mean, the bottom was where it was at. And surprisingly enough, the tire fall off wasn't horrible. At the end of that, after the stage, when I pitted, I had 80s on the right front, and I think 79s or 78s on the right rear. So the fall off wasn't that bad. So no, it was good.
Yeah, the track, just like you said, that top just never really came in, and that was really, really surprising. Especially the battles. It seemed like it was really, really hard to pass out there. I know you were out front for most of it, but it seemed like you could get side by side with somebody, but you just couldn't get the drive off. Was there just something that wasn't clicking where the trucks were just getting a little tight there, being side by side, or was even the side draft a little bit strong tonight?
I think the momentum on the top line is what kept the bottom line from getting around. That's why I think Devin pitted a lap before me, so he was able to gain that 1 second. So I knew when I came out of the pits, I had to drive hard and get around him with fresh tires, because if tires fell off, I don't think there was a way, unless he made a mistake, to get around him.
Well, you were able to save your tires quite a bit better than he was and drive to an impressive victory, just over 3-second gap back to Devin there. And man, we move on to the playoffs next week. We move on to Richmond. How do you like your chances in the first round?
I like it. Ran Richmond a couple of times. I've run it in the officials as well. I've always done pretty well there. So we'll be putting some practice laps in over the next week. We're going to get serious about this stuff now that we're in the playoffs.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on your win. Before we let you go, Daniel, anyone you want to thank, a shot you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Michael for not being here and giving me a chance to win, because it seems like that's all he ever does is win. SM Racing Products, you guys up in the booth, AMR, Paintworks for that awesome paint. and the admins. I mean, this is our first time in this league, and this league is just, it's a lot of competition in this league and some good racing. So take away the short tracks, and I mean, this is the best racing I've been around.
For sure. And I know Richmond is a short track, but it doesn't race like a short track, like a IRP or a Martinsville will. So I'm sure we'll have a great race next week. I'm looking forward to it. And again, congratulations on your win and good luck next week.
All right, man. Thank you.
Have a great night. Well, that's going to do it for our regular season finale here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. Whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, over on Twitch, over on Kick, we do appreciate you tuning in tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcast. Of course, we got more racing lined up this week, so you're not going to miss it with our Thursday night Thunderstruck series, Sunday night INSS, a couple other races along the way. So check them all out here on Intensity Broadcast. So that's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, we want to thank all our great partners over at Race API, The Butt Kicker. Support our channel at intensitybroadcasting.com. Of course, Blue Ridge Auto Group, great series sponsor as well. As our boy Atlee, Atman Weiss would say, over